the first step was I just took a piece of paper and with a ruler and a pencil just ruled out some lines, made a rectangle for our graduating or gradating, if you will, rectangle. So the next step is you want to take your frisket, comes in a roll like so, and just kind of roll that out to the length that you need. Take a pencil and mark it. Set that aside. Roll that back up, put a little piece of tape on it. Now what you want to do is just get a little corner of this started and just peel it back a couple of inches. Fold that over. Lay it down like so. Push underneath. Just pull it like so. Don't worry too much about the bubbles. You can always if you have bubbles, you can smooth them out, wipe them out like that, or you can peel up your frisket a little bit, lay it back down. And we'll just take that and trim off our excess. Like so. Alright, once we have the frisket applied and all trimmed out, take our ruler again and a sharp X-Acto knife, and we just carefully cut this out. Now you want to apply enough pressure that it goes through the frisket but not the paper. Okay. And try not to overshoot your lines. And that's how that's done. Okay, once you have all of your lines cut, you can go ahead and set your artwork up on an easel if you have one, or you can do it on a desktop. I've found over the years that it is much easier to do on an easel than it is on a flat desk surface. And then if you like, you can tape down the bottom. I like to do that just because I don't want it moving around. once you have your artwork set up on your board, you want to take your X-Acto knife again and find a corner and just very carefully peel back the frisket from the area that you want to spray. You can set that aside somewhere. And just readjust that a little bit. Now the first thing you're going to want to do with your airbrush is to put some paint in it. Now my favorite color is blue, so I'm going to use this blue paint by FW. Comes with this little eyedropper. And just put a little bit in your color cup. Now I highly recommend that you do some test sprays on a paper towel. Paper towels that I personally recommend are the Viva White. Very absorbent. But certainly feel free to use whatever paper towels you have on hand. Now, as I was saying, you want to do some test sprays into a paper towel just to make sure that everything is flowing right. And now we're going to do our graduation. We're going to graduate it from top to bottom. So we're going to make it dark at the top and light at the bottom. Now, when you do your strokes, you don't want to start here and end here. You want to start out here and end out here. So, here we go. Do a little test again. And you'll notice I'm spraying a very, very light value over the entire thing. And the reason for that, well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, you don't want to, you want the paint to build up from light to dark. So if we oversaturate it up here, the paper is going to warp and it's going to get really messy. So what we basically want to do is spray the value that it's going to end up at down here through the entire thing, and then just stop short here. And then we'll go back again and we'll do that same value over the whole thing, but we'll stop here. And then we'll do it again and stop here, and so on until we build up the paint. And if you like, if you feel like your paper's getting a little bit too wet, you can just dry it off, not pulling back on the trigger. I'm just applying air. Oh, looks like we ran out of paint. So put a little more in there. Maybe do another test spray. Dry it some more. And I think that actually looks pretty good. Maybe it could be just a little bit darker at the top. Oh, ran out of paint. But I think that looks pretty good. Dry it off. Tape off. Remove it from our board. And we'll take it over to the drafting table and remove the rest of the frisket. Okay, so we're back over at the drafting table. And all we need to do now is to remove the rest of the frisket. We don't really need the X-Acto knife to do this. You can just find a corner and peel it back. And there is our graduated rectangle. And then if you like, I like to do this, I like to take an eraser and just erase any pencil lines that may have been left over. Usually kind of run it up the sides carefully so as not to remove any paint. I'm using a very soft eraser, by the way. And then I use a drafting brush to brush away the eraser shavings. Never use your hand. Never use your hand. You can sometimes smear the paint, although it should be dry. But you can also scratch the paint. Not to mention, you really don't want your fingers all over your artwork. You can touch it, but you know, your skin has oils and that sort of thing, and so I always use a drafting brush. I never use my hand to just wipe that away. And there's your finished product.